chill of the night cut through my jacket as I stepped into the shadowy depths of the haunted forest. The ancient trees loomed like grotesque, gnarled sentinels, their twisted branches clawing at the ink-black sky. The only sounds were the rustling of leaves and the distant cries of unseen creatures. I shivered, a sense of unease settling in my gut. It was said that those who entered these woods were never the same, and I was about to find out why. My flashlight cut through the darkness, its feeble beam revealing the eerie landscape before me. The forest floor was carpeted in moss and fallen leaves, muffling my footsteps as I ventured further into the abyss. The air grew heavy with an oppressive silence that seemed to seep into my very bones. As I walked deeper into the forest, I began to hear whispers, faint, indistinct voices that carried on the breeze. I couldn't make out the words, but they sent shivers down my spine. I couldn't tell if the voices were real, or if they were a manifestation of my growing fear. Suddenly, I stumbled upon a weathered, moss-covered tombstone. Its inscription was barely legible, but I could make out a name, Eleanor Blackwood. My breath caught in my throat as I realized that I was not alone in these woods. The tombstone was old, centuries old, and the air was heavy with the weight of death. Continuing my journey, I became aware of strange, unnatural shapes moving at the corner of my vision. I swung my flashlight toward them, revealing nothing but trees and shadows. My heart pounded as I quickened my pace, the unseen horrors of the forest closing in on me. A cold wind rustled the leaves, and I heard a mournful wail in the distance. The sound sent a shiver down my spine, and I knew that I had to find my way out of this place. Panic welled up inside me, and I began to retrace my steps, trying to follow the path I had entered from. But the forest seemed to have a mind of its own, and the path was nowhere to be found. I stumbled through the underbrush, my heart pounding with each step. The forest felt alive, as if it were a sentient entity, toying with me. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, and I felt an unseen presence watching my every move. As I moved deeper into the forest, I noticed that the trees began to close in around me, their branches intertwining overhead, creating a suffocating canopy. It was as if the forest itself was trying to keep me there, to swallow me whole. I pushed through the tangled branches, my hands scratched and bleeding, but I couldn't escape the ever-tightening grip of the woods. The moon cast eerie, distorted shadows that danced on the forest floor, and I stumbled upon another tombstone, this one more decrepit than the last. The name on it was barely visible, but I made out the words, "Forgotten by God." I felt a rising sense of dread, as if I were treading on cursed ground. My flashlight flickered and died, plunging me into utter darkness. Panic welled up within me, and I fumbled for my phone, hoping its feeble light could guide me out of this nightmare. But as I turned it on, the shadows seemed to grow thicker, and the forest appeared to stretch on forever in all directions. The whispers became frantic, almost pleading, as if the forest itself were begging me to stay. I could feel its malevolent presence closing in on me, and I knew that I was not alone. Something ancient and malevolent lurked in the darkness, waiting for its chance to claim me. I stumbled upon a clearing, and in the pale moonlight, I saw a dilapidated cabin, its windows shattered, and its walls sagging with age. It seemed abandoned, a relic of the past, but as I approached, I heard a faint, muffled sound coming from inside. It was a woman's voice, singing an eerie, mournful melody. With trembling hands, I pushed the creaking gust of icy wind blew through the cabin, extinguishing the candle that had been the source of the feeble light. The singing stopped, and I was plunged into darkness once again. I fumbled for my phone, desperately trying to illuminate the room. As the light pierced the darkness, I saw her, a woman, her eyes empty, her hair disheveled, her skin pale as death. She stood in the corner of the room, swaying to the haunting tune that now echoed in my head. "Who are you?" I stammered, my voice trembling. She turned to me, her eyes vacant, and whispered, "I am Eleanor Blackwood. I've been waiting for you." Panic surged through me as I realized the truth. The forest had claimed me, and I was now a part of its cursed history. Eleanor's voice grew louder, filling the room with an otherworldly presence, and I knew that I would never escape the haunted forest. I stumbled backward, my heart pounding, as the cabin seemed to come alive with the tortured spirits of those who had been trapped here before me. The walls groaned, and the shadows moved with a sinister intent, reaching out to grab me. In a final act of desperation, I turned and ran back into the forest. The trees closed in around me, their branches like gnarled hands, blocking my path. The whispers grew louder, the shadows deeper, and I knew that I was lost to the haunted forest forever. As I stumbled through the darkness, the forest seemed to stretch unendlessly, and I realized that there was no way out. I had become a part of its cursed history, destined to wander its haunted depths for all eternity, just like the others who had been claimed by its malevolent grasp. And so, I remain in the haunted forest, a lost soul, forever haunted by the chilling whispers, the mournful wails, and the malevolent presence that lurks in the shadows. If you ever venture into these woods, beware, for you too may become a part of its cursed history, lost to the haunted forest, never to